and in the sunshine feeling relatively warm, with temperatures in the high teens for most of us. Overnight there will be a bit more damp weather pushing into parts of western Scotland. That will clear though as we go through into Friday, and so actually Friday for many, away from perhaps Orkney and Shetland where there'll be a few showery bursts of rain around, actually Friday looks like a largely dry day with some decent sunshine on offer. Quite a bit of cloud to come as we go through this weekend, particularly on Sunday, but most of us will see the sunshine at times. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good evening. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Traffic is restricted on the A9 northbound between Broxton and Inverormond roundabout due to a broken down vehicle. The M48 enforces a 7.5-tonne weight limit for heavy goods vehicles starting May 27, 2025. The M25 anti-clockwise has a closed lane between junctions 17 and 16 due to a broken down vehicle. Delays occur on the A3 southbound in Surrey between the A2-83 Milford North and the A333 because of a broken down vehicle. And on the trains, expect disruptions, especially on East Midlands Railway and between Ipswich and Felixstowe on Greater Anglia. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
This is your chance to win a motorhome and cash in our biggest giveaway to date. Courtesy of Marquis Leisure, you could be the proud owner of this 2025 Benamar Primero. It comfortably accommodates 4 people and can be driven on your standard driving licence. Plus, you'll also bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend on anything you like. Make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
I think for far too long in this country, millions of people felt as though they weren't represented at all by the establishment media.
GB News was needed because there literally was no other voice. Everyone was saying the same thing.
GB News exists because there is a desperate need for fearless journalism that puts the people first.
GB News came on the scene as a disruptor, and it has always been a disruptor ever since.
The mainstream is all about keeping the status quo as it is, ticking along quite nicely. They don't want to ask difficult questions.
But journalism is journalism at the end of the day, and we're not here to serve any masters. Our masters are our audience.
Charlie Peters, he gave a voice to the victims of grooming gangs, and now, of course, it's led to a national inquiry.
GB News exists to make sure those concerns are put forward and people feel as though what what they want to ask is put to those in power.
We don't take orders from anyone. We ask the questions our viewers and listeners want answering.
I know what's actually being discussed by my family and my friends. Us ordinary, hard-working British people have had enough. We've had enough.
They're fed up with the same old establishment nonsense. Everything that we do is opening up conversations that others are afraid to go at.
Why are you illegally bringing people into Britain?
That is our job. Our job is to get to the truth.
If it's important to you watching or listening at home, then it's important to us as well.
That's what makes us the fearless champion of Britain.
Good evening. It's the end of the Tory conference and the big Kemi Badenoch speech happened this morning. And the big message from the week is we are the party of fiscal responsibility. You can trust us with your money. We'll debate whether we actually believe them. Today we passed a landmark. Now over 35,000 people have crossed the English Channel so far this year. We debate, can a new Home Secretary make any difference? And I've got a Talking Pints guest tonight. Yep, I've got AJ Pritchard, somebody who's appeared, I think, on more reality TV shows than almost anybody ever born. In particular, Strictly Come Dancing. But now he's become an entrepreneur, and I think very soon he might even be a politician. But first, let's get the news with Tatiana Sanchez.
Nigel, thank you. The top stories. The man who carried out the Manchester synagogue attack made a 999 call in which he pledged allegiance to the so-called Islamic State group. Jihad al-Shami was shot dead by police outside the Heaton Park Hebrew Congregation Synagogue after a car and knife attack that saw 2 Jewish men killed. The call was made after al-Shami's car hit a wall after he drove into worshippers. Melvin Kravitz, 66, and 53-year-old Adrian Dalby died in the attack. The head of Counter-Terrorism Police Northwest spoke this evening.
Minutes after the first call was made to GMP, and as firearms officers were making their way to the scene, al-Shami called 999, claiming responsibility for the attack. He also pledged allegiance to Islamic State. We are more confident that he was influenced by extreme Islamist ideology, and the 999 call forms part of this assessment. It's important to stress that we look across all the evidence gathered in order to make our assessment of the motivation behind the attack.
More than 35,000 migrants have now crossed the Channel illegally this year. At least 750 people made the journey from France today alone as calm weather returned to the Channel. It brings this year's total just 1,500 short of last year's entire figure, a major blow to the government's pledge to smash the gangs. Maritime sources warn crossings could surpass last year's total within days, with more clear weather ahead. Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood says the crossings are utterly unacceptable, insisting the UK will restore order to its borders. Kemi Badenoch has vowed to abolish stamp duty, calling it a bad tax as she delivered her first keynote speech as Conservative leader in Manchester. She's promising a new economic golden rule, splitting savings between cutting the deficit and lowering taxes, and pledging £47 billion in cuts with £9 billion in new spending. Ms Badenoch told party members only the Conservatives can restore a strong economy and secure borders, accusing Labour of a borrowing and tax doom loop. Stephen Lawrence's killer, David Norris, is not safe to be released from prison, a psychologist has told a parole hearing. Norris, 49, is bidding for release from his life sentence after being jailed in 2012 for Stephen's murder. The prison psychologist, giving evidence anonymously today, said Norris should be moved to a lower security, closed prison where his behaviour could be tested. Norris publicly admitted for the first time to being part of the racist attack on Stephen in 1993 during the first day of the hearing yesterday. It marked the first time since the teenager was stabbed by a gang while waiting at a bus stop in Eltham in South London that any of his killers admitted their involvement. Stephen's mother, Dion, says her son's killer is nothing but a coward.
He's a racist who, with others, murdered my son Stephen. I will not name him. It is vital that this hearing took place in public so that everyone could see and hear what was said by him about him. He says he's sorry for the pain he caused me and my family. I don't believe him. The only person he's sorry for is himself. As far as I'm concerned, he's a coward. He refused to show his face. He needs to look me in the eye and tell me exactly what he did and why he did it.
And Sir Keir Starmer is facing mounting pressure after the collapse of a major spy trial involving 2 men accused of working for China. The UK's chief prosecutor says ministers failed to hand over vital evidence despite months of requests from the CPS. Critics claimed Labour put ties with Beijing ahead of national security. Calls are now growing for ministers to explain in Parliament how one of the UK's most sensitive spy cases unravelled. Those are the latest GB News headlines. For now, it's back to Farage.
Tune into GB News Radio wherever you are, online, on DAB digital radio, on TuneIn, on Radio Player and on your smart speaker. Just say, play GB News.
Good evening. Well, it's the end of the Tory party conference. The multitudes can go home, haha. But today was the big Kemi Badenoch speech. Now, she said a lot of things in this speech. One line that stood out is that we did many great things in government. But the theme of the whole conference week was about fiscal responsibility. You can trust us. We will not allow the national debt to explode out of control. And indeed, that meant today she introduced her golden rule. Have a look at this.
It starts with fiscal responsibility. We have to get the deficit down, and we must also show how every tax cut or spending increase is paid for. So today, I am introducing a new golden economic rule. Every pound we save will be put to work. At least half will go towards cutting the deficit. And with the rest, we will get Britain growing and bring down the taxes that are stifling our economy.
And that reinforces the message we got yesterday from the Shadow Chancellor, Mel Stride.
Let's face it, we're the only party that gets it. The only party that will stand up for fiscal responsibility.
Now, I want to share this with you. They said this in the 2010 manifesto. They said it in the 2015 manifesto. They said it in the 2017 manifesto. They said it in the 2019 manifesto. Shall we have a quick look at the scores on the doors? Let's have a look at what happened, our debt to GDP ratio during their 14 years. Do you see that? It went from 30% to getting on for 100%. Let's have a look during those 14 years of what happened to taxes as a share of GDP. Well, if you look at that chart, it goes back to the end of World War II, when we were absolutely skint and we had to pay big taxes to start paying off that debt. You see in those 14 years, we've now gone back and we're now above the highest tax rates we ever had after 1945. So I'm going to put this to you, folks. During the 14 years of the Conservative government, and yes, you can argue there was a pandemic, etc., but our national debt went up 2.5 times. Now they tell us they are the party of fiscal responsibility. They are the party of low taxes. My question to you, and maybe you do, is do you believe them? Have I got it all completely wrong? Tweet your responses, hashtag on GB News, or email farage@gbnews.com. I am joined in the studio by the noble Lord Glasman, Labour peer and founder of Blue Labour, but he's Morris to us on the channel. Is that all right?
Thank you, Farage. Yes.
And I'm joined by Kwasi Kwarteng, the former Chancellor of the Exchequer. Kwasi,
sure.
We'll get on to stamp duty later on, but I was just saying that the theme of the whole conference, if you go through Stride, through Badenoch, all the way through, is we're the only party that can be trusted. We are the party of fiscal responsibility. The record of the previous 14 years
was bad.
Very bad.
But look, so if you look at the political environment today, you've got Labour Party, which won't reduce spending. They're going to increase taxes. All the commentators say that they're going to increase taxes at the next budget. And with all respect to you, who I love and respect, but your party is all over the place in terms of financial, fiscal responsibility.
Well, what we're saying...
You're spending more on welfare...
No. We've just announced the biggest welfare cuts in history. We will not allow the indefinite leave to remainers... those that came in under the Boris wave when you were there, we will not allow them.
But what
to
about
qualify
where
for
you are?
benefits.
I'm afraid on the two-child cap.
That's going to cost.
That's going to cost. You've been outbidding Labour. I'm afraid.
Well, actually,
on the left on that issue, I think that's fiscally irresponsible.
Working British people should be encouraged to have more children. Was my point.
No, but that's not going to. That's not what's going to happen. What's going to happen?
Here's the other thing. Look. The point is, I'm not actually saying compare Kemi Badenoch to Labour. You can argue Labour are worse, right? Yeah. Fine. And Morris can disagree, whatever, that's fine. What I'm saying is the proposition that she and Stride are putting, frankly, can't be an honest one given their record.
No, so to be fair to them, they weren't running the government when we were in power, and it's the job of the Conservative Party not only to win elections, every party's job is to win elections, but they've got to have a credible set of policies. I think, frankly, that Labour are not credible on fiscal responsibility.
That's fair, fine.
And I don't think, even though you've never been in government, when you're saying, we're going to lift the two-child cap on benefit, that is not the right thing to do. But that is not
the point. They promised in 10, 15, 17, 19.
Look, that's history.
Right.
The screw-ups they made...
Is it now a different party?
I think you've got to... You can defend the past, but they've got to look to the future. Fine. And I think at the moment there is a credible thing for the Conservatives...
Are they believable?
Totally incredible, but also irrelevant.
I mean, Labour may be awful, but that isn't the point, is it? We're discussing her speech.
The thing is that once again we're dealing with all the Thatcher tribute acts, all this coming back. The state expenditure hugely increased under Margaret Thatcher. That's the first thing to say for all her reputation. Also, was that moving unemployed onto disability, which is killing us now. A lot of these trends are long-standing. But Kwasi, 1 second. The issue is state reform. It's not benefit cuts, it's state reform. We've at the moment got more civil servants in the MOD than we have soldiers.
That's
right.
And that's
this
been true
is
for a
the
while.
Area that's got to be dealt with.
To accept.
And that's where, what I didn't hear anything about was AI. The effect that AI can have on state employment. There's going to be a transformation of the state.
But that's all very well.
I'm fighting for that inside Labour. And you'll be surprised to hear, Nigel, it's not going in a hostile way. Everybody can recognise that.
The issue that I have with Labour is that they couldn't even reduce $5 billion out of the welfare reform.
Pathetic.
And all the Labour ministers they were on the Today programme, they were on shows like this saying, this is what we've got to do. They've got a majority of 170 and they couldn't do it.
My hero is Nigel, my hero is Frank Field.
I repeat the point. I repeat the point. We can debate the merits and demerits of the three big parties if we want to.
Well, you're one of the big parties.
No, clearly. Yeah. But we're now debating Conservatives. So here's the other thing. Yeah. Let's talk stamp duty. So when the Conservatives came to power in 2010, the stamp duty rates were 1%, 3% and 4%, depending on the expense of property you were buying. George Osborne decided he'd make us like the rest of the European Union. And by the time we left power, the stamp duty rates had gone up. They, not you, Morris. Not you.
It's not you.
Yeah. Went up to 5%, 10% and 12%. You quadrupled stamp duty in this country. And now, despite saying there'll be no unfunded cuts, etc., she now says she'll abolish stamp duty. I mean, the point I'm making here, Kwasi, it's not believable.
Look, you can say it's not believable.
I am.
But I think what she's saying is right. I think we made a mistake. I mean, I remember when George was Chancellor, I was a backbencher, and they put in that extra stamp duty for houses over £1.5 million. And my folks live in North London. They have a house probably worth, dare I say, £800,000.
Yeah.
And all across North London, people aren't moving because they feel that they have to sort of, build, redevelop the house, build an extra, sort of granny flat. And that totally, froze the housing market. Now, you can say as a party, what we did 10 years ago was wrong. I mean, you'll find that. The Tory party's been around for 300 years. So it's done lots of different things. Yeah. And the new leader can say, actually, what we did was wrong. Right. This is what we've got to do.
So
you've got to accept that.
The basic premise is every single thing we did in 14 years was wrong.
No, not everything. We did some good things.
Net zero.
We did some good things.
Boris admits now is
we
wrong.
did education reform. We did some welfare reform, which you're trying to reverse with the two child benefits.
I want to help working families.
You're trying to reverse
Quite
that.
right.
There were things that we did that were right, but we had that huge record over 14 years, and people rightly are saying, well, actually, we don't trust this. I understand that. And that's the job of Badenoch, to try and regain trust.
I struggle when in 2011, 2012, 2014, 2016, each of those successive years, you increase stamp duty, now you want to abolish it. I mean, stamp duty, it depends where you live in the country, doesn't it? It depends a lot where you live in the country. But for a lot of people, the housing ladder is just an impossible dream.
This is what's got to change. I completely support you.
But what are Labour going to do about that? I mean, they want higher taxes, they want more welfare spending. How are you going to deal with that?
I can only hear Kwasi speak for myself and for my wing of the party, who want fundamental state reform. The state is too big, and the bigger it gets, the more useless it becomes. Yeah, I think, Nigel, we could have a consensus on this and work.
I think we probably all agree with that.
I agree with that.
That we all agree with that.
The focus is always... Look, I would like to abolish the Treasury, for example. I think the Treasury is a block on industrial development. The future is industrial. We have to build up our armed forces, we have to build up our weapons production, we have to build up our supremacy within medical production. This requires a partnership with the state. So we've got to look at it in a completely different way. The administrative state is over. The huge cost of the state is in the employment within the state.
Yeah, and I don't see...
but what you're saying...
I mean, your wing of the party is arguing for that. Yeah. I'm not seeing much of that for the Conservatives.
The blob... So I share some of your beliefs, but I can tell you, having been a minister... That's not where the administrative state is.
Oh.
You've got Labour, you've got the Conservatives, you've got the Lib Dems, and they would all fundamentally disagree with your position. I'm not saying that you're wrong, but you've got to deal with that. And
that's the political battle.
Kwasi, did you go to the
conference? The battle is not over.
No, I didn't go to conference.
Tax and
I didn't go to conference.
And very few people did.
Well, look, the modern conference you will appreciate. I mean, I used to go to conferences as a sort of Tory boy in the early 2000s, late 90s.
I remember you well.
Stop it.
And they would be in Bournemouth, they'd be in Blackpool, and actually I had to reduce it to nuts and bolts. The cost of conference, going to Manchester and going to Birmingham, it's very expensive.
No, it is.
It costs you 150 quid a night to stay in a place. And the last time I was in Blackpool in 2004, it cost £18 a night. Yeah. It wasn't the best place. But it was perfectly acceptable. So make a.
Has she done enough to survive? Because
she definitely has. I thought her speech was very strong.
Because in early November, her 1 year's up.
That's right.
And a number of MPs could challenge her.
We know that.
So you think she stays on?
Yeah. So be frank about it. The point of maximum danger for her is the local election
next year.
Yeah. So people will look at the local elections. Councillors, Tory councillors, who are seeking re-election. Will either be successful or not.
It's a big moment.
And then at that point, I think there'll be a discussion
I agree.
Where we're going.
Thank you. In a moment, we talk about small boats, as today we race through 35,000 people who've crossed the English Channel so far this year. But there's a new Home Secretary in town, and Morris thinks she might make a difference. All of that in just a moment.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Bold. They are under no illusion.
Ray,
Are you a human trafficker?
boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
I asked you, do you believe the Conservatives have completely changed and are now a party of fiscal responsibility? Jeffrey suggests no, I don't believe them. They campaigned on low taxes and a small state and did precisely the opposite. And Jess says the Tories have nothing to lose, so they're being honest and good for them, including opening the door to scrapping the triple lock. Well, I tell you what.
That's right.
If it wasn't for the pensioner vote, the Conservatives' poll ratings at the moment would be almost non-existent, so I can't see that happening in a hurry. Anyway, more than 1,000 small boat migrants have crossed the English Channel today, taking us way past the 35,000 mark. And I was sent this footage first thing this morning from some friends of mine. Let's have a look at it. From friends of mine were out just innocently having a day's fishing, and there you can see the usual drill. You've got the Border Force boat in the foreground. Yes, and you've got the French Navy in the background escorting a packed migrant boat to the right of your screen. And this was just after first light this morning. I was sent this by a friend, as I say, just out having a day's fishing. But it's over 1,000 today. It's 35,400 so far for the year. The country is enraged. And it crosses everything. It crosses everything. Because I can tell you something. Some of the most enraged people are immigrants to this country who've come here legally, gone through what is now, I'm pleased to say, a relatively expensive process with tests to pass and everything else, as it should be. And the unfairness to them, the unfairness to us as taxpayers, the pressure on social housing is now becoming acute and really, really hitting badly working class communities. It is a disaster, and it is making faith in politics sink to a level we've certainly not seen in modern times. But we have a new Home Secretary in town, Shabama Mahmood, who is talking tough. Do we think she's going to make any difference whatsoever? I am, of course, deeply sceptical, but a man sitting to my left, way to my left, Morris. Morris,
yes.
You've got faith in her, haven't you?
I really, really respect her. And I do want to say this to you as well, as to your viewers. I've known her for 10 years, and she's a remarkable figure in Labour. She's deeply patriotic. She's a religious Muslim who's deeply patriotic. I thank God for her because she's just come through. She's very hard-working, but she's had enough of not being able to act about this. She understands exactly what we all understand, which is this is undermining basic trust in government. And also, as she laid out in the Labour Party conference too, I've got to say, a stupefied silence in the hall where she laid out sovereignty, borders, boats. So I'm saying to you, Nigel, at this critical moment in our national life, she extend a sceptical but real benefit of the doubt to her that she will act. Now, what she's going to come up against is the legal framework. Sure. What you're seeing on your screen, instead of the Royal Navy stopping the boats, they're facilitating the arrival of the boats because they're working within the ECHR, they're working within all those constraints. So what I expect to see from Shabana is to initially challenge the legal framework and see what can be done within the existing framework. And then when I think she will realise that she can't stop the boats that way, I think the initial act is going to say, let's get rid of Article 3, let's get rid of Article 8.
Labour will never do that.
They'll never do that.
You say,
that's where Nigel is absolutely right.
Guys, stop. She's Home Secretary. She's been appointed Home Secretary with everybody knowing what she thinks. She's already talked about this. You say never.
Morris,
this is pie in the sky.
We have got a Prime Minister who was a human rights lawyer with his fingertips.
Exactly.
We've got Hermer, the Attorney General. I can't say.
So you will understand, however brilliant we think she is, and I don't know much about her, I always liked her in the House of Commons, she seemed very capable, but whatever thought she has got a knock against the reality of a Prime Minister who's a human rights lawyer and thinks international. He did appoint her, but he thinks international law is the be-all and end-all. Look at the Chagos Island deal, which is appalling. But that's what he was. That's why he was influenced. He's got an Attorney General. So this idea that she can decide unilaterally what the Labour government's policy is, I think is for the birds.
Well, what she
you
can
understand
do,
the reality of power.
What she can do, I mean, what she could do, if Morris is right, is she could actually go public.
Yes.
And say, I can't do my job.
She's too ambitious. She's too ambitious. She'll be too ambitious to do that. She'll be too ambitious to do that.
This is where
Morris thinks that she's a principled politician.
Not only a principled politician, she's a patriot. That's deep down in her. And she will put that first. And she's, first of all, I'm not expecting a revolution vote, but she will challenge the legal framework if it is the case that she can't stop the boats. She is committed to restoring trust. Now, then let's see. You think if the game's over before it's begun.
I've seen this a million times.
Well, it happened to you, didn't it?
I've seen it a million times.
Yeah.
If you're a senior cabinet minister, if you're not dancing to the tune of number 10,
you didn't have
you've got a very short
significant support from enough significant support within your party. What I'm saying is, my wing of the party is going to really get behind
but how many MPs have you got? 80?
So. It will
hardly any. You've got 400 MPs. I don't think there are 80.
The reality is that Nigel Farage's party reform are 10% ahead in the polls. You can't argue with that.
That's true.
The level of disgust about what is going on, you can't argue with that. Now, all due respect to your party, but to me, they're ghosts. They're not existing. Kemi spoke today. I don't think anybody's listening. But as you said, you take back control, and we got 1 million migrants a year. Now, there are people in Labour who are aware of the existential reality in this. What I'm saying is, Shabana is the person who will push this, and then we'll discover the truth and the thesis.
Well, I tell you what.
You're saying we're defeated before we started.
I tell you what.
I'm saying we've only just begun.
I tell you what, Morris, what you put forward there is interesting. It's something that we'll all watch. We'll see.
Yeah.
I am deeply sceptical in the same way that, that Kwasi is, because these are the realities. But you know what? If she does dare challenge this publicly, it will be a very good thing for the nation.
Absolutely. And what I'm looking, I think we've all got to dial down the demonology on all sides. What we've got is a Muslim religious woman who's the Home Secretary who's saying she's going to deal with it.
Well,
we've got to.
I don't question her motives, but I question her ability to go against the Labour Party ideology.
Well,
and that's what I question.
Things are on the move.
Either way,
things are on the move.
I will admit it's a different tone.
Totally.
It is different. It's true.
Let's accept that Morris is right on that. It's a different tone. The conference speech she gave was interesting. One of the few not to obsess about me. It
was interesting speech.
It was interesting.
It really was.
It really was.
Can I just say one thing to viewers? I don't speak like this about politicians, but I think she's something special that we should give her the benefit of the doubt.
Well, we will wait and see, Morris. You've made the case. In a moment, our friends in the European Union are raising steel tariffs. Is that what happens when you give in to the bully in the playground?
Sure.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
There are a couple of watch points with the weather across southern Europe as we go through tomorrow. Heavy thundery rain around eastern Spain, and Storm Barbara affecting southeastern parts of Europe, pushing into western Turkey, could bring 100 to 150 millimetres of rain. Elsewhere, lots of dry weather, but like I said, across eastern Spain towards the Balearics, heavy thundery rain through the next few days could bring 200 millimetres or so in some places, which is around 3 times the October average. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Good evening. This is your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. There is a little bit of rain pushing its way southwards across northern parts through tonight into tomorrow, but many places staying largely dry. The rain in the north is due to a frontal system that's already made its way in across northern and western Scotland, and with this we're seeing the winds strengthening further as we go through the night, risk of gales in some exposed spots. The rain does also edge its way southwards into southern parts of Scotland, perhaps northern England and Northern Ireland as we head towards dawn tomorrow, but further south across much of England and Wales staying largely dry, some clear spells around, and with light winds, clear spells, temperatures are going to drop and there could be some locally dense patches of fog forming as we head through the early hours of tomorrow morning. Otherwise, through tomorrow morning then, a mostly dry start across much of Scotland, the rain having pushed its way in towards the south, and so the borders area waking up to a bit of a damp picture, and also quite damp across Northern Ireland, and there will be a few spots of rain across some parts of northern England where the cloud is thick enough, but across the rest of England and Wales really it's a dry start to the day, and there will be some sunshine around, and so that sunshine should help clear any mist and fog patches that do develop overnight. Staying pretty grey, quite murky with low cloud and drizzly rain across Northern Ireland, southern Scotland, parts of northern England and perhaps the far north of Wales as well through tomorrow. Otherwise, a generally dry picture, often quite cloudy, but there should be some sunshine breaking through, and in the sunshine feeling relatively warm with temperatures in the high teens for most of us. Overnight there will be a bit more damp weather pushing into parts of western Scotland. That will clear though as we go through into Friday, and so actually Friday for many, away from perhaps Orkney and Shetland where there'll be a few showery bursts of rain around, actually Friday looks like a largely dry day with some decent sunshine on offer. Quite a bit of cloud to come as we go through this weekend, particularly on Sunday, but most of us will see the sunshine at times. Bye-bye.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up? About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Kipling wrote a very famous poem about paying the Danegeld. The Danish invader comes. You pay him money to go away, but because you've given in to him, he comes back the next year and asks for even more. And I would put it to you that the European Union are bullies. They've always been bullies. And this Prime Minister wanted a reset with the European Union. Well, of course, he was a second referendumer, as you know. And now they are kicking us hard. We've given away our fishing for the next 12 years and much else. Yeah, they want to slap 50% tariffs on steel. Maurice, I feel this. You know, I went up to British Steel with Richard Tice, as you know. I helped at least save it for a period of time. Yeah. But this is, I mean, you can't be nice to these people, can you?
No, I think this is one of the things that they've really got to learn, is that the EU is not just a bully, it's a weak bully. You know, the whole thing is falling apart. Germany was a disaster, banned fossil fuels, banned nuclear, totally dependent on Putin. Now they're going through industrial disintegration. They're going AFD, basically. And then France, look, the government can't even stand up.
So why have we given them so much?
Because we're deluded. We still think that, you know, that Prince album, Dancing Like It's 1999, they're still with the Prince album. We've got to really, really move away.
This hurts, doesn't it?
This really hurts. Now, we've got to have an industrial strategy. I argue, Nigel, that our real strong partner in Europe is Ukraine. They've got resources, they've got an industrial workforce, they've got strong military power. We've got to keep us far away. London, Kiev holds the balance against Paris, Berlin. Paris, Berlin is going down. And then we do have...
That's fascinating.
And I do want to honour something about you, Nigel, there as well. When I was at the inauguration, Nigel introduced me to everybody he knew. I passed those relations on to our government, and it's working. We've got a really constructive relationship with the US administration.
I was pleased to do it, Morris.
Yeah, and it's the right thing to do. So, Ukraine, that's our business. The United States support us. We do not need the EU.
No,
they're going downhill.
Kwasi, why don't we just... I mean, this 50%, by the way, this is the negotiating position.
Of course it is, of course it is.
Don't we just go back and say, right, do you know what? Actually, we're going to take our fish back. Actually, you want to play like this, we'll play like this. I mean,
but the problem we have, I mean, we're all in violent agreement, which is not always a good thing.
Which is a shame.
But what I would say is that we've got to play our cards, fishing. But the problem we have is that the government at the moment is led by people, David Lammy...
who just don't accept withdrawal,
Rachel Reeves, Keir Starmer himself. They are absolutely committed in their bones to an ongoing, essentially, membership of the EU.
Even if we lose and lose and lose.
That's the problem.
I call it...
And we had that problem, frankly, with Theresa May. You know, she was a Remainer, and she was basically put into bat for us. But fundamentally, she didn't believe that we could have an independent policy.
She saw it as damage limitation,
exactly.
not as an opportunity.
They all saw
that's still in our sights, right? We've got to realise, my government has got to realise the huge possibilities of Brexit, the way that we can renew.
But they don't believe that. They don't believe in it.
Morris, I agree they should.
You're in a totally different place.
I'm afraid they're not doing it.
To the majority.
I'm going to move this on, though. I'm going to move this on to ID cards. Here was the Prime Minister launching digital ID.
I'm announcing this government will make a new free-of-charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work. The rule will be that you can't work if you don't have digital ID. And the reason for that is that too many people are working illegally.
Clear, you must have ID, mandatory digital ID, in order to work, because we have to stop illegal working.
That is our totally and utterly dishonest Prime Minister at every single level. If you are a foreign worker in Britain, you already have to show a form of digital ID as a foreign worker to your employer on your phone. There is a code you have to apply for, and he, if he's, or she, if they're employing you, legally have to ask for it. So we're told that's why we've got to have it. Yet already we have HMRC saying this is wonderful, it'll pave the way for £600 million of tax grab we can take from people. And before you know it, you'll have all your medical records on there. If you're not jabbed, because the government thinks you should be, you'll find yourself genuinely a second-class citizen. I think the whole thing is appalling. I will not be having digital ID. Put me in prison, not a problem. I will not be having digital ID, and I really mean it. Kwasi, why is he lying to us?
Look,
hang on. Why is he lying to us? We already have digital ID for foreign workers.
We've discussed this many times.
I know.
And
I'm getting angry
on this issue, I think you're completely wrong.
Right.
Digital ID, it's technology.
Yeah,
you know, 50, 60 years ago, we had paper passports, all of that.
We still do.
We live in a... Yeah, we do. We have a digital world. And why wouldn't we have digital ID? It makes things a lot easier.
Well, then why not say that? Why lie to us and say it's for foreign workers when already they have to have a form of it anyway?
So in my view, this is modern technology. It's going to happen one way or the other. If it doesn't happen this year, it'll happen next year. If it doesn't happen next year, it'll happen in 3 years' time.
I don't trust
This is a modern... I know you don't trust government, but I'm just saying as a practical way of...
Kwasi, I support digital currencies.
You do,
right?
you do.
I support the 21st century world. But that is a private transaction between me and an organisation or a system, not with government.
So you want a passport? You think that's better than a digital ID?
Actually, the passports now have chips in them and they read across machines. And that's
so why not have digital ID? So you've accepted the technological
because
issue.
it gives government the ability to control every element of your life. I have a feeling, Morris, on this one, that it's not going to fly. Blair tried this really, really hard. They tried for years. I think this is going to fall flat on its face. I can't see Labour putting up with it.
Yeah, and I just want to also share with the viewers that I've got really mixed feelings about it. We don't know who's in our country, right? That's
true.
This is scandalous.
How would this help?
Is that in order to access any aspect of commercial or political...
Commercial's in place already.
Right, then just some notion of who you are. I'm just sharing why I'm Now, I share with you this visceral loathing. I love to walk down the street without any identification. Who cares? But because of, I think, mass migration and because of state inefficiency, then
we don't even know how many people are in the country.
So the argument is, because you guys have completely screwed the country up, we have to have digital ID.
Yeah, that's what we're saying.
That looks like roughly the size
of it. It's a better way. It's an easier way.
Screwed it up over 50 years as well.
No. You're absolutely right.
But what
and we've got this new... We didn't have digital ID 30, 40 years ago.
The thing is that we've got to have a really, this is a problem with our politics. We've got to have this conversation.
Yeah, no, we need to have a
we've
proper
got to
chat
share
about it.
with the people the threats to the liberty and the huge advances that can go on through technological innovation.
Yeah.
That's the stuff we should be talking about. In politics.
Morris, I'm not a Luddite in any way.
I get exactly what you're saying.
I just don't trust the state.
OK, but
I've got to tell you
we've got to restore trust in the
audience.
state,
The fun thing is not when they're on air. The fun thing is when they're off air. They talk all through the commercial breaks and they're wonderful. But I'm going to kick them out because I'm having a Talking Pint special.
I've got my digital ID.
No, even with his digital ID, I'm kicking him out. I'm joined in a minute by AJ Pritchard, of course, best known for Strictly Come Dancing, but I think somebody who's appeared probably on more reality TV shows than anyone alive, but now is an entrepreneur, wants to be a role model for people getting involved in small business. I wouldn't be surprised if this fella didn't finish up in politics before too long.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country. There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor. Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, you didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
It's time for Talking Pints now. My guest this evening may be having a cup of tea, but nevertheless, I'm going to say cheers to AJ Pritchard.
Cheers,
and welcome to the programme. Now, this is fascinating. I genuinely wonder, and here you are, boy from Stoke-on-Trent, you have done... Well, let's start with the big one.
Yes.
Strictly Come Dancing. There you are, the youngest ever professional male dancer
crazy.
on Strictly. Let's have a little look at you in action. That was 2016. Wow. How did you get the gig?
Time flies. To be honest, they asked me, like, first time, second time, third time. I said no to all of them. And then actually the lady that sponsored me to actually perform and travel the world and really helped me with my career, she passed away. And it was like at that crossroads, you know, when sometimes things happen, it was like, well, actually, I think this is the right time to take that opportunity. And at that point, it was like, well, if I don't like it, I can still go back to competing. Yeah. I'm 20 years old. If I love it, I will be happy.
But suddenly that's fame, isn't it?
Instantly, overnight, yeah.
That is tabloid press writing nice and nasty things about you. But undeterred, you've gone on since to do Celebrity MasterChef, Celebrity SAS, Celebrity Hunted, and, of course, in common with me, I'm a celebrity, get me out of here. Let's see AJ on that show.
Keep memorising while you've got more crickets, cockroaches, maggots and mealworms.
7 and 10.
Let's find out as we reveal the shield.
Well, that brings back memories. How did you find it? Were you scared doing that?
I absolutely loved it. The one thing I was obviously sold, the Australian dream, being in the sun. I ended up being in North Wales. It wasn't exactly the same
because of COVID.
Because of COVID.
Yeah.
So it was a very different... Felt like an I'm a Celeb special. It was great being in there with, like, Mo Farah and, like, fantastic people. But it was it was weird. Like, you get in them scenarios and you really don't know how are you going to react until you're actually thrown into it. I loved it. I loved all of it.
Well, you say that. I mean, I was there. We had 10 days of rain. The bottom of the sleeping bag was wet in the morning.
Yeah.
All the rest of it.
We just had the ice cold. It was just freezing. Like, we had these weird heaters so that our body didn't go to hypothermia. So, you know when you got really, really cold, you kind of like, OK, it must be really cold tonight, because, like, they flicked on a small heater. They kind of brought it to an appropriate temperature.
But, I mean, why all of these programmes? Money?
No, I think it's more
opportunity.
For fame? No, if you get the opportunity to learn, have fun, do new things, like, it always keeps you energised. And for me, it's about how do you always keep yourself learning and meeting new people. And that's about putting yourself in different situations.
And was this, I mean, clearly becoming a dancer was the big ambition. I mean, you're an athletic guy.
Ironically, it was, like, up to the point of age of 12, I was like, extreme sports, anything fast, dangerous, adrenaline.
Yeah.
And at the age of 12, I was like, I want to go on TV. There was an opportunity to do Baby Ballroom. It was awful. It never made air. Thank God it's in the archives of the BBC, hopefully to never be shown. But then at that point, I was like, I want to do this seriously. My dad was an ex-dancer, so it meant that he was a world professional representing the country. But if he was to have his child dancing and competing, he would lose all of his jobs because he couldn't judge me, the favouritism side. So he knew that it's not a very guaranteed future. If you say you want to be #1 in the world at dancing and you want to make a career, you're like, OK, it's a bit of a pipe dream. You're going to have to work very, very hard.
Yeah.
And it's not a guaranteed future.
I've had Wayne Sleep on before, doing Talking Pints. And again, his story, an incredible story from a very unlikely background. His dad was an industrial worker, not, a dancer himself. But the interesting thing is that you've got those years on Strictly, and you did pretty well with your partners on Strictly. You get, you do very, very
Serial
well.
semi-finalist. Never made that final quite.
Yeah, but it's still, come on, it's still very, very good. And yet in 2020, you quit. You give up what has been one of the most, for Saturday night viewing, it's kind of brought families back to the telly.
100%.
On Saturday nights, the way they used to decades ago.
And it still has that family values, and I think it brings... It's a British institution,
it still
and
works.
You can't not deny it brings the values of man, woman, lead, follow, and you see creativity. And it's the one show where you actually get taught by a professional to learn a new skill. And that's why, as a celebrity, I think people do love it.
That's terrific. But you give it all up in 2020, and you decide, I now want to be an entrepreneur. And you get involved with Fint, with your brother. Tell us what it's all about.
So Fint is a investment app. So I myself am not a licensed regulated person, but Fint is powered by iMarket. So they're a regulated entity, an award-winning firm. And for us, it's about, we feel like there's a massive gap in the market, and especially in the UK. The UK is chronically underinvested. And that comes down to lack of the financial literacy and financial education. So we feel at Fint, we want to be at the forefront of that change. So only 6% of adults take financial advice. 1 in 10 people have 0 cash savings. And these are these facts. There was a fact that came out recently, and it was fundamentally in the UK. 13 million adults have about 430 billion in investable funds in cash. This is so upsetting, and it comes down to that financial, education side. We feel we can be at the forefront of that change.
Interesting. And are you making money?
Well, we are 3 years old in Fint. We've got a long way. Obviously, when you come into these kind of companies, you want to invest time, energy, and money, obviously, to grow it. It's not about, we've done it differently. We haven't said go on to a large scaling company to kind of raise money and do it. We've been very lucky. Wes Wilkes has helped us with our personal finances, and then given us the opportunity to work with him as the founder and the CEO of Fint.
See, entrepreneurship is something that interests me. I've always, from a young age, wanted to have my own companies, do my own thing. But we're not encouraging it in this country, are we?
It's really hard. I think, when somebody works so hard and you kind of... we were speaking about this, actually, as our business partners. I've got the opportunity with you now. How do we take this and be positive? When we go to other countries, we kind of see that there's such, a collaboration. How can we help each other? It's positive. In the UK, it seems to be if somebody's doing well or somebody else is doing well, it's well, what are you doing that I'm not getting? And it seems so negative.
Someone was saying to me the other day that you go to West Palm Beach, you meet someone at a bar, they say, hey, I've been bankrupt 3 times, but now I'm worth millions. And in America... in many parts of America still, that have a go.
Yes,
that follow a dream, that have the ambition. And I just feel, I don't know whether you feel it with young people at school or whatever, there's a lack of mentoring, there's a lack of role models in this.
I think it comes down to mentality. I love cars. If I see somebody in Mayfair with a great car, I think, wow, they've probably worked hard for that, I appreciate it, I want to go and talk to that person. And I think that's kind of being flipped on its head, and it's upsetting to see that. But it comes down to the red tape in the UK, I feel a lot of the time. We want to kind of be at the forefront of what we do. We have the opportunity to work within universities and be creating groundbreaking technology within Fint Invest, and it's fantastic. So within Q1 of next year, we'll have some fantastic things to talk about in the education side and using AI. But at the same time, wouldn't it be amazing for the government, let's say, create a levy or an apprenticeship to actually, A, keep the talent within the UK, but B, entice more people to come in? You can't take Revolut. Nick, he's today, residency.
We've heard that he's moved, and we're losing rich non-doms. We're losing Brits who pay huge amounts of tax. We're losing young entrepreneurs like you who are going elsewhere. We've got to get them coming back the other way. And mentoring is also quite important for young people.
100%. We've had the opportunity to work with Wes Wilkes. He's got 20 years in wealth management, working at the coal front, outside of Stoke-on-Trent, Newcastle. He's allowed us to come in and learn. I think this is really important. I don't have that wealth of knowledge on that side, but I can use what I know.
Well, you've got a lot to offer, and maybe, who knows, you've done all these TV shows, you're doing the business. one day it could be politics.
Tip the toe in there.
Okay. Listen, what a pleasure.
Honestly, thank you. Thank you for your time.
Great Talking Pints guest. Now, coming up next, State of the Nation with Tom Harwood. Tom, what have you got for us this evening?
Well, it's been a long few weeks, Nigel. Manchester, Bournemouth, Birmingham and Liverpool. The party conference season really comes to an end now off those major parties. But frankly, has it changed anything in our politics? I've sat down with the Shadow Chancellor of the Exchequer, Sir Mel Stride. We'll be playing that out. Also, we'll be joined by the one and only Sir Jacob Rees-Mogg. He's got an interesting new book to look at. And we'll be talking about the steel industry in this country. Is the EU going to destroy it? Wow. That and the Chinese spies. It's a busy show.
Thank you very much indeed, Tom. Lots of big subjects coming up. But first, let's have a look at the all-important weather.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good evening. This is your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. There is a little bit of rain pushing its way southwards across northern parts through tonight into tomorrow, but many places staying largely dry. The rain in the north is due to a frontal system that's already made its way in across northern and western Scotland. And with this, we're seeing the winds strengthening further as we go through the night. Risk of gales in some exposed spots. The rain does also edge its way southwards into southern parts of Scotland, perhaps northern England and Northern Ireland as we head towards dawn tomorrow. But further south across much of England and Wales, staying largely dry, some clear spells around, and with light winds, clear spells, temperatures are going to drop and there could be some locally dense patches of fog forming as we head through the early hours of tomorrow morning. Otherwise, through tomorrow morning then, a mostly dry start across much of Scotland, the rain having pushed its way in towards the south. And so the borders area waking up to a bit of a damp picture and also quite damp across Northern Ireland. And there will be a few spots of rain across some parts of Northern England where the cloud is thick enough. But across the rest of England and Wales, really, it's a dry start to the day and there will be some sunshine around. And so that sunshine should help clear any mist and fog patches that do develop overnight. Staying pretty grey, quite murky with low cloud and drizzly rain across Northern Ireland, southern Scotland, parts of northern England and perhaps the far north of Wales as well through tomorrow. Otherwise, a generally dry picture, often quite cloudy, but there should be some sunshine breaking through and in the sunshine feeling relatively warm, with temperatures in the high teens for most of us. Overnight, there will be a bit more damp weather pushing into parts of western Scotland. That will clear, though, as we go through into Friday. And so actually Friday for many, away from perhaps Orkney and Shetland, where there'll be a few showery bursts of rain around, actually Friday looks like a largely dry day with some decent sunshine on offer. Quite a bit of cloud to come as we go through this weekend, particularly on Sunday, but most of us will see the sunshine at times. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. This brand new 2025 Benimar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country. There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor. Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk
No,
now?
that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Hello, good evening. It's 8 p.m. on Wednesday, the 8th of October. I'm Tom Harwood, in tonight with the illustrious Sir Jacob Rees-Mogg. On tonight's programme.
Conference, the next Conservative government will abolish stamp duty on your home.
Yes, party conference season draws to a close for the major parties as Kemi Badenoch winds up her conference with a surprise policy announcement to abolish stamp duty. Despite dwindling attendance numbers and stifling nostalgia for the Thatcher years, could the Tory party really be putting itself back in the race? Also tonight. The British steel industry could be heading for Armageddon after the EU hints at new 50% tariffs coming in after Donald Trump's administration imposed 50% tariffs on our steel just weeks ago. Is there time to save this fundamental industry? Plus,
China.
yes, Britain's chief prosecutor, not the man you just saw, says that the China spy trial collapsed because the government failed to publicly declare China a threat, leaving the two suspects to walk free. MPs are furious, but the government insists it handed over all relevant information. Who's really to blame? Also tonight.
There are some things I read in this book that almost turned me into a Remainer, if not a Romaniac.
Well, the one and only Sir Jacob Rees-Mogg interviewed the Bruges Group's Robert Alds about the mysterious Gully Foyle's new book, 75 Brexit Benefits, and some of the answers might surprise you. Well, State of the Nation starts now. Well, I'll also be joined by my most preternaturally pertinacious? My goodness me, the Jacob Rees-Mogg lexicon is slightly wider than my own, but the former spokesman for Reform UK, Gawain Towler, and the political consultant and former Labour candidate, Kevin Craig. Now, don't forget to let me know what you think all throughout the programme, gbnews.com/yoursay, or indeed tweet us at GBNews. But all of that is so much more to come. We're going to get first stuck in to your latest news roundup with Tatiana.
Tom, thank you very much and good evening. The top stories. The man who carried out the Manchester synagogue attack made a 999 call in which he pledged allegiance to the so-called Islamic State group. Jihad al-Shami was shot dead by police outside the Heaton Park Hebrew Congregation Synagogue after a car and knife attack that saw 2 Jewish men killed. The call was made after al-Shami's car hit a wall after he drove into worshippers. Melvin Kravitz, 66, and 53-year-old Adrian Dalby died in the attack. The head of Counter-Terrorism Police Northwest spoke this evening.
Minutes after the first call was made to GMP,
And as firearms officers were making their way to the scene, al-Shami called 999, claiming responsibility for the attack. He also pledged allegiance to Islamic State. We are more confident that he was influenced by extreme Islamist ideology, and the 999 call forms part of this assessment. It's important to stress that we look across all the evidence gathered in order to make our assessment of the motivation behind the attack.
In other news, GB News can exclusively reveal that more than 1,000 small boat migrants have crossed the English Channel today. It takes the total for the year to more than 35,400. The figure brings this year's total just 1,500 short of last year's entire figure, a major blow to the government's pledge to smash the gangs. Maritime sources warn crossings could surpass last year's total within days, with more clear weather ahead. Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood says the crossings are utterly unacceptable, insisting the UK will restore order to its borders. Kemi Badenoch has vowed to abolish stamp duty, calling it a bad tax, as she delivered her first keynote speech as Conservative leader in Manchester. She's promising a new economic golden rule, splitting savings between cutting the deficit and lowering taxes, and pledging £47 billion in cuts, with £9 billion in new spending. Ms Badenoch told party members only the Conservatives can restore a strong economy and secure borders, accusing Labour of a borrowing and tax doom loop. Sir Keir Starmer is facing mounting pressure after the collapse of a major spy trial involving two men accused of working for China. The UK's chief prosecutor says ministers failed to hand over vital evidence despite months of requests from the CPS. Critics claim Labour put ties with Beijing ahead of national security. Calls are now growing for ministers to explain in Parliament how one of the UK's most sensitive spy cases unravelled. Those are the latest headlines for now. More in an hour.
Take the GB News family with you on any device. As long as you have an internet connection, tune into GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond.
Welcome back to State of the Nation. Now today, major party conference season comes to an end. Reform, Lib Dem, Labour, Tory, these parties spoke to themselves over the last 5 weeks. But what did they get out of it? Well, Reform, for its part, grew up. More professional than ever, but overshadowed by a government resignation, a reshuffle and a row over vaccines. The Lib Dems emphasised their own niche, the loudest anti-Trump party, coming for the votes of a polite Middle England outraged by other parties, in their view sucking up to a most vulgar American president. Well, for their part, the Labour Party was a party paranoid. In every speech, in every fringe, in every corridor, in every hall, one word rang out beyond any other.
Farage, as Farage said, Nigel Farage, these are Farage boats.
We've got to call out Farage and his cronies.
Farage. Yes, across those halls of Liverpool, Reform was the ghost in the room. But then we come to the Tories. This was a make-or-break moment for the party. Is it even relevant anymore? Could it show enough signs of life to avoid an inevitable slide to oblivion? At first, the signs of life were scarce to see. Empty seats and a ghostly exhibition space. Everywhere you looked were signs of a party very much diminished. By some measures, this was a party on its way out. One that had more to say about its past than its future. Everywhere you looked was one former Prime Minister.
Have a look at this. They've turned all of these party activists into a giant mosaic of the face of Margaret Thatcher. In fact, Margaret Thatcher is everywhere at this party conference, if you look around.
Yes, the great lady was indeed everywhere. A giant mosaic of Margaret Thatcher, several cardboard cutouts of Margaret Thatcher, even an exhibition of iconic suits worn by Margaret Thatcher. But beyond the nostalgia, slowly the conference did pick up, did start to look forward, not back. The message discipline was indeed strong. Borders, economy, a 200-page legal advice that showed the way out of the ECHR, paving the way to repeal the Human Rights Act, commitments to ICE-style removal squads and ending immigration tribunals. Finally, clarity of policy and a clear sign that the work has been done. That this party hasn't been simply twiddling its thumbs through its slide to irrelevance. borders, economy. These new twin lodestars to right the course of HMS Conservative Party. Badenoch clearly views economic competence to be a crucial and winnable battleground for her party.